You are listening to Party Nerds Weekly.
What's going on, everybody? You're here for another installment of the Party Nerds podcast. Thank you guys for being with us through every single episode of Loki, because we always have so much to talk about. And God only knows where the fuck we're going to end up. But the thing is, we titled this podcast for a reason. We got to stick the landing because it's been perfect so far. Ralphie almost had a conniption. He almost had a fucking fit when he saw it. So I can imagine what the rest of the squad is saying. So, of course, I got my esteemed guests, Ralphie, Haas, Jorge. To kick it off, episode 5 was kind of like a recluse moment because of the cliffhanger that we saw in episode 4. Victor Timely was, of course, spaghettified and a bunch of time radiation. Everybody has been basically displaced, and now Loki is there to fend for himself. What did you guys overall think of this episode?
Go, Ralphie.
One, if I had to say, this was a beautiful way of bringing back cliffhangers. Like, one, I haven't had a cliffhanger like that in a hot minute. Let's just go ahead and say shout outs to the writer, number one. Number two, it did kind of had me lost, but I also had that expectation, like, he had the time skip or something like that. Something major definitely happened. And when you got into the next episode, you got a full whip of what is happening. But like, again, it's just like you just said, they got to stick the landing now because it's been epic so far.
Word. Haas?
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting on. I'm waiting for the landing, man. I told y'all from the beginning that this was just going to gradually keep taking off, right? It was just a slow burn of just some great ass episodes and shit. So it's been working out that way. The only problem that we've seen in pretty much every Disney Plus show so far is that they get to these endings and they're like poorly written or it's rushed. So that's what's been happening with all of them. So that's the only thing I'm looking for right now. Can they just keep this consistency going all the way through to the ending of the show? Because the show, all right, so it doesn't matter how it ends. For me, the show is fantastic.
Right.
Great fucking show.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm telling you, Loki, WandaVision, cream of the crop. Word. So right now, I'm just looking for the ending, man. Like obviously, if it's still going on this trajectory, right? Mm-hmm. Something's going to be revealed that's going to be amazing. So I just hope they stick the landing like Ralph said.
Yeah, now the initial part of this cliffhanger from episode 4 to the beginning of episode 5 was due to the fact that the temporal radiation blew up so motherfucking much that you figured in your mind everybody was going to die.
Yeah.
But when you got to it, it just so happens that the TVA is the only thing holding people to their current alternate realities. So they pretty much, wherever they were stolen from in time, they got sent back to that particular spot. All except for Loki. And the thing is, you're almost wondering to yourself, why is Loki the only one left? Like, why didn't he get wiped away? The other, Sylvie, is a Loki too, and she got wiped away. But why this version of Loki is the one sticking around? Did that confuse you guys going forth when you saw the beginning of that episode?
No, because we started out this season with the time jumping, right? That alone, I already understood. That was his way out. Now, initially, when we see the end of episode 4 and it just cuts to black, like just being engulfed in the episode, you're just like, you don't know what's happening. But as soon as the show comes back on, and then you realize, oh, he's been time slipping, like something triggered his time slipping, and he's just been time slipping from one point of the TVA to another point of this event that happened, right? So yeah, it was. I understood it completely, Ralph. I don't know if your experience was the same.
Did you feel that way?
No,
Ralph?
I felt exactly the same way. Again, from the beginning, I knew there was something in correlation towards it. Like, to bring it back to what you said, Haz, it was going to be like a slow burn, but I was like paying attention consistently. Like, all right, this time skip is going to play some major part into it. Yeah. Granted, it kind of disappeared a little bit when it came to like 3 and 4, because again, it was about like more in depth of the characters and about like where they are in the whole time periods. But with that being said, as soon as you got that blank period, I instantly knew, yeah, that time skip had to have played a big portion into
Right.
it. But it was just like, again, I guess it was, as you got into more of the episodes, it was gradually understanding like, how is this going to play a substantial role?
Right.
Clearly we knew he had a problem. It was like he was glitching, but how was it going to play a role? Which I was just, I was happy when the latest episode that just dropped was, oh, it all starts to click now. Now all these pieces are coming
Yeah.
together.
Right.
It's all making sense. And even more so, the incorporation again of the other variants being brought to their times and having to recollect all these
Right.
people and having that it just all
Almost the
into
greatest construction of either alternate realities and time travel that we've seen in a lot of these comic book shows or movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Days of
I
Futures
agree.
Past is probably one of them. If you want a
Great fucking
discount,
movie.
yeah, Days of Futures Past,
Mm.
Endgame,
Yep.
use of time travel, though was a little tricky. And then this has been like, okay, because to be honest, episode 5 kind of was the thing that brought it full circle.
Mhm.
Because you come to realize that the whole point of season 1, he who remains dying, everything resets. So we had this question at the beginning of season 2,
Okay.
where we thought the interaction between OB and Victor Timely in episode 3, where he was like, I learned everything from Victor Timely, from a 19th century inventor named Victor Timely, where this new version of Victor meets OB for the first time. He was like, well, I created everything based off of a TVA handbook that was created by Ouroboros. So you're looking at that correlation and you're like, well, okay, where does this fit? Like, how does this happen? So it almost gets back to this whole Back to the Future fucking Doc Brown situation, to where the whole pickup of all these people from these alternate realities, the one person that he does meet and does talk to, because the TVA handbook played probably the biggest part in this fucking show out of anything. Like, they've been passing this book off since the first episode of season 2. And you didn't realize
book has been getting tossed in windows.
it wasn't just the contents inside, it was who it was getting delivered to, who it was getting passed to, so on and so forth. So when Loki is discovered to get back into time slipping and everything like that, and he starts to come to the realization that he has to put all these bodies back in the same room again. When he meets Ouroboros, who is of course in academia, but in realization, he's a science fiction writer, which is almost perfect because it's a
Yeah.
correlation to what Loki's about to become.
Right.
You got Sylvie, who is still her, but she's just like somewhere on the timeline, listening to records, probably just enjoying some peace for once. You
Right.
got B-15, who's a physician, and you got
Mhm.
Mobius, who everybody knew what the fuck he was going to be. He was going to be a jet ski salesman. You know,
Yeah. 100%.
so, but the biggest thing that we come to find out, because this, once again, season 2 was the beginning of Square Zero. When he meets Ouroboros and he tells him about the TVA handbook and how he was the creator of the first 10 pad, and that he was a major in astrophysics and everything like that. So the
Mhm.
creation of the first 10 pad took over a duration of 15 months. And this was all basically OB's creation right there. This is now the
Mhm.
first piece of the TVA that was being created right then and there. So the narrative is now Loki's to create, because Loki inspires OB to create the first 10 pad. OB learned from a past Victor Timely, but the thing is, OB created the handbook. You know, it's almost just like a full circle now. Even though they had met in that past time, to where he figured out that Victor was the one that gave him that gave him all the tools to create the TVA handbook in the first place. Everything had to start again. So now this is
Yep.
Loki's inspiration for starting the TVA right back up.
Right.
So I was like, mind blown. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way that this could go. So there's this correlation as to where we're at. And pretty much you arrive back in the current TVA and you're almost like, what now? Everybody's back in their normal sets. They don't know anything. He pretty much stole them from their timelines the same way that they were stolen in the first place.
Yeah.
So it's like, now that the TVA is his, what's the new narrative that Loki constructs?
I don't know. That remains to be seen, man. We gotta see this last episode first. I can't like. That's a question you kind of look at me right now, to be honest with you. Like, I'm still. I mean, obviously it's writing, but I'm still kind of puzzled on how easy it was to get them convinced to go. Like, that was
that too.
That was weighing on my mind as I was watching the episode. Like, dang, yo,
I mean,
like,
look, if a former version of yourself walked in through a 10 pad and was like, "Yo, you need to come with me," because there's some shit going down.
Yeah, but
you need to be over here.
It's wild. It's
and then Mobius didn't want to leave his kids.
He didn't. He didn't, but he did. So that's what I'm saying. Like,
but he did
that. It was a little puzzling how easy it was to get them, but obviously, like, he just. I'm glad it came together because it's going to set up some great things for episode 6. So, I just don't know. See, now I'm trying to figure out. Like, I'm really puzzled on Miss Minutes. How is she playing? What is her role going to be in episode 6? Like, in this last,
and that's the thing. Like, what is her, how far back was that time slip? Because she was being rebooted.
Yeah, you seen that. Like,
so it's like a reboot means you coming back at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot like it's a lot like Ultron or whatever, right? Like, Ultron, most people would think like Ultron's done, but he's gonna pop up somewhere later. He's somewhere in the internet, and he's gonna pop up later, right?
Right.
So the same thing with this. Like, there's I'm sure there's a fail-safe system or something that she will pop up again. As you see, she's about to be rebooted into some. I don't know, but I still go back to episode 4 when we saw when the agents got murdered in that cube thingy.
Oh,
face and how excited she was. Like, I'm looking for that payoff.
You want Miss Minutes to come back on a fucking tirade.
Somebody has to be the villain.
Somebody.
I mean, she's dark. She's dark.
Someone
she
has
an
to be the
ulterior
villain
motive,
of the
like,
show.
for sure.
Like, who's the if it's not going to be Miss Minutes, like
Ravona's in the void.
Renslater's in the void. Like, so she has to deal with like Goliath in this shit. So who is the villain? Yeah. It's got to be Miss Minutes.
Well, this is the other thing. This is another thing that just brings everything back full circle. Ravonna was instructed by He Who Remains to hunt Lokis. And we talked about this, to where there was a bunch of Lokis always in the void. More so because of the fact that he was sitting there trying to find the right one. The right one was going to tame Goliath, and the right one was going to get to the Citadel.
Right.
So the fact that went down, like, I once again, another square zero thing. When we're talking about the villain, because now this new narrative is being brought up amongst everybody, I guess on social media, because now that Loki says I can create my own story, that it's going to go to Al Ewing's God of Stories timeline, which literally was a book that came out last year. Agent Loki, Agent of Chaos, turns into the God of Stories, to where he's almost his own cosmic entity, to where he's like the All-Father in Norse mythology.
Yeah.
And he's having conversations with the living tribunal of how, like, if a certain thing happened to where people were completely wiped out. And in this case, it was a story called The War of the Realms. Everybody got fucking murdered by Malekith and the Dark Elves, and they just took over shit like that. And it took till like a couple stories later to where Loki was like, you know what? He had a conversation with his younger self and basically like straightened him up to where he grew up into this being that wanted to know more about the cosmic universe. Because you come to think of it, Loki's already a god. He gets to talk to cosmic beings all the time.
Right.
So it's almost like, okay, if this is a brand new comic book that's already being like thrown out into like maybe this type of aspect or this type of adaptation, who's to say that like Loki is he the next He Who Remains? Is he going to be like this sort of cosmic entity? Is there like, or is it because if he interrupts the construct of time, he's going to get met by even bigger cosmic entities, like someone like the Living Tribunal or something like
Yep.
that? There's certain things that could get thrown out there.
I mean, you
Mhm.
gotta remember that He Who Remains, he wanted them to take it over in a way, or he said, or he
Yeah,
put it out there, right? So that's,
yeah,
I mean, that's the whole setup. From the whole setup, the whole point of Loki having this show, which I'm glad it turned back to his show in episode 5, because it wasn't his show for like
Mhm.
10
right.
episodes this
No,
season.
and
Yep.
Wasn't.
it was
I'm
fine. It was
and
okay.
I'm glad it's his show again. But it was from the beginning, from the very beginning. The show was set up for him to take over the TVA. Right?
Mhm.
Uh he's the one that went all the way to the end of time, saw He Who Remains. He's the one that uncovered the truth about who the timekeepers and all this stuff. Like, he uncovered the truth.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And he came back to the TVA trying to warn everybody what's going on. He's the one that has to convince everybody to that whatever they learned, and that they're actually variants, and that they all got taken from their timelines. And then he was the one who's putting this thing back together after this crazy
Mhm.
event with the timelines just exploding pretty much, right? So it's all set up for him to sit in that seat at the end. That is,
Right.
it's totally the setup. It's totally the setup. And
Mhm.
which poses a whole lot of questions, because we have a whole council of kings that are excited
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
He Who Remains is out, right?
Is
So
out of
Yep.
there.
how on bigger picture does Loki potentially running the TVA, right? Being the guardian of time, right?
Mhm.
How does that play into these kings that are like, oh, the
About to be
one that
unleashed.
can't fuck with is out. We're about to take the shit over. So
Right.
that's what I mean. Big picture is crazy. A lot of questions.
Now, I will say this. There is a certain thing that I've been trying to fathom in my mind about the whole sitting on the throne thing. Kang, He Who Remains as an output, is nearly just a mere man. Somebody who has figured out through his own mind, because he's of superb genius, figured out all the constructs of time. He's a supreme inventor. He's done things his own way. So much so that he basically sat on the throne in the middle of the citadel and has figured out ways in order for him to stay in the background, let the multiverse run itself, all while having an entire agency prune timelines. My thing is, because we remember the first 3 phases, we understand that there was at one point, you know, very cosmic things that were happening that belonged to certain people within very vast universes that could have controlled anything. My biggest thing
Mhm.
is that if you're going to supplant the throne of a mere man to now a god, who the hell did He Who Remains work for? Everybody got a boss. If you're controlling timelines and universes throughout the entire universe, there's bigger people that you have to answer to.
I mean, you answer to?
Mhm.
I don't know about answer to.
They haven't brought up the construct of a lot of the bigger entities in the Marvel universe yet. So to think that just a mere man could do that.
Who does Galactus report
He's
to?
not.
Just
He's not.
curious.
But he's not just a mere
I
man.
mean, Galactus was a slave, and basically,
You talk about? He said Galactus.
he said, "Who did Galactus report to?" I mean,
Who does
Galactus. No, but
Not
Galactus
a
eating
single
planet.
motherfucker, man.
No, Galactus was cursed.
Yeah.
He was literally a person on this planet that was cursed. That's why he had an eternal hunger and was there eating planets. Like literally, like the chaos. I forget the 2 entities that basically made him who he was. They instilled a curse on that man to where he's like eating planets the entire time because he needs resources. He's like Wembenyama. Like calories get inside that man and they fucking attack. You see how skinny he is? Like it's nuts.
Yeah, 100%. You gotta look, man. I think you can reach a certain level and not have a boss. Like let's be real here. Like, I mean, He Who Remains, how essentially by default outranked all the other kings because they are all against him, and they celebrated like they won the Super Bowl once they found out he was done. Right. So what I'm saying is, He Who Remains, he had no one to answer to. And he is basically the keeper of time.
You think nobody kept him in check?
No one kept.
James,
now I wouldn't say he wasn't being watched or if things got out of control, but why wouldn't things are out of control right now? Yeah. Why isn't anybody stepping in?
Yeah,
but even more so, you guys kind of
he's his own boss.
Yeah, maybe there's a bigger timeline.
You guys kind of already said it, but you guys already kind of said it. Like, again, he's already kind of like a genius at construct and everything like that. So if your mind is moving at that constant types of speed, of course he's probably already thought about this. He's like, all right, I already know what you're going to do. I'm gonna go ahead and just prune this real quick so I can just stop you right here. But again, you remember, and I think it was like one of the episodes, it was in the last season where he was like, I'm tired.
That's why he's dead. Like, he literally allowed Sylvie to kill him. He allowed Sylvie to kill him.
So at that point, it's like, if to him, it was just like, yeah, I can keep winning in this game on easy mode, but I'm over it. Like, it's just kind of like, I'm over it. It's like, you are your own boss, but at the same time as well, too, it's like,
okay, so if he
checked out.
Put it on expert for one day, he put it on expert mode, and now he's going into this whole timeline to where now I'm going to be replaced, and I really want to see how this really fucking works.
He probably knows how it works.
Yeah.
He probably knew how it works. Like, this is the timeline that he chose. Like, this is the path. Like, he was tired. He basically committed suicide because this is a Kang that we're talking about. You think he couldn't stop her? You think he couldn't stop her if he really wanted to?
Oh, of course he could.
Well, come on now. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he is suicide. Like, he literally committed suicide. He X'd himself out. He was tired of this shit. Right? This is where Loki's gonna come. Loki's gonna come for this chair, right? He's gonna run the TVA, but I feel like he's gonna have problems with these other Kangs, like major problems.
Yeah.
Okay,
major problems.
Yeah, like
what was you about to say, Jorge?
Oh, like off topic. I'm just curious. Does other cosmic beings know that Kang's a human? Like,
that's a good question.
That's a really good question.
Because they could be like, oh, fuck that, I'm gonna fucking destroy this motherfucker.
So
it's like, this is motherfucker on a rock in the middle of the universe that I can't touch.
I mean,
like Thanos or freaking any other big cosmic.
No, see, Thanos wouldn't know that. Thanos is a lot of things. Thanos wouldn't know that, right?
He's an assistant manager.
He wouldn't know that.
He's assistant manager.
yo, it would literally, it would have to be like, it would almost have to be something like someone like Doctor Strange. He's human, but it would have to be someone like him or someone. Right. It has to be someone that can have that type of knowledge.
Scarlet Witch,
right?
Possibly. Or was it?
It's possible. She's cross-conscious through dimensions.
Yeah, it's possible.
So she could possibly have that.
Yeah,
and Strange couldn't do it without the time stone.
Yeah, Star-Lord's father. Remember that one? Because he was out there.
Ego was a celestial. Ego was a celestial. Of course, that's another person.
Yeah. Right now, I would say no.
Certain things out there. That's why
I would say no.
That's why I like certain things in the timeline.
It would have to be certain. It would have to be certain entities, like the Living Tribunal, the Beyonder,
That's a good one.
God, like it was
God.
like
What about
literally,
Mephisto and
maybe old yo,
And look, that's another
maybe
one.
maybe
Because
Odin
literally in the
knew.
God of Stories, in order for him to control
Maybe Odin knew.
narratives, he had to he didn't have to make a pact with Mephisto. He just had to have a handshake deal
Yeah,
that he would get Credo to do whatever he needed to do.
yeah,
And he wouldn't be able, then Mephisto wouldn't interfere.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So like, yeah, Mephisto, and then maybe Odin. Like Odin could possibly know because Odin knew a lot.
If he
of
didn't
shit.
die, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's another one.
So he knew Odin knew a lot of shit. So those are the ones. Maybe Zeus. Not Zeus. Maybe
Zeus.
Maybe Zeus.
No, you're right.
Maybe Zeus. Yeah, because he's the king of the gods, right?
Yeah.
Apparently.
Look, this is all
And he's
Okay.
in.
this
Like,
is
we
all
seen him.
uncharted territory because Marvel's never went there before.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
not even going beyond the center of just like gods themselves, but the actual entities that run the cosmos.
Yeah. So
They never went there.
that's what I'm saying. Like, unless it's them, like nobody else is gonna know.
Yeah. We saw Eternity twice. Like you see her in Guardians of the Galaxy 2
Right.
when Star-Lord looks up into the stars, and you
Right.
see him in Thor Love and Thunder
Yeah.
at the end.
Yeah. That's
So
the ones that would know.
Yeah, those are the ones.
That's it. Everybody else, no.
So he might have had some handshake deals in order to stay
It's possible.
cool.
It's
with
possible. I'm not gonna rule it out. It's just I don't think he doesn't have a boss though. Like nobody like at that point you're at the same table with these motherfuckers because he gained so much knowledge. Like we know this. Like he gained so much knowledge. Like he could probably he could see all this stuff coming. If somebody was gonna come for him, he could see it coming. And he have a counter for that. Like that's just what King is about.
I
like
would
a
hope.
Batman, basically.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
here we go.
finds everybody, you know, he prevents
No, don't.
So-
No.
cosmic Batman.
But if we're looking at like ways for them to stick the landing without pissing everybody off,
Okay.
I mean, no, all 5 episodes have been absolutely flames.
Fire. Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
it's like, hopefully, the only way that this could be completely off the rails is if episode 6 of Loki turns into season 8 of Game of Thrones.
Oh.
Don't do that.
I don't even
Don't do that.
I don't even
Don't
wish
that
that. We don't want
upon
to
us.
promote on there.
Don't
Don't wish that on
upon
anybody.
We don't even.
You go through 7
Where's the
seasons
power,
of
man?
greatness.
You can't be saying that.
Oh,
Can't be throwing that out in the universe.
oh, come
That
on.
shit comes back around, and I don't want to come back around on Thursday night.
Right. So at the end of the day, how do they do this? Because we gotta be getting another season of this shit.
We better.
Is it going to be another cliffhanger?
It
Probably.
has to
They
be.
ended
You
it
got to
on a
give us another cliffhanger.
cliffhanger. They ended it on a cliffhanger last season.
Does Kang resurface watching from the shadows?
Yes.
All
let's
the
get that.
Kangs?
Like, let's get all of them. Or the 3, whatever the top 3
Oh,
are.
Immortus,
Maybe they
Scarlet
come out.
Centurion, Ramatut.
Yeah.
Maybe
Kang
they come
Prime.
to see Renslayer. Maybe they come to see Renslayer and they're like, "Oh, he's dead." And who are you? And they all convene, and then Miss Minutes pops up because she's the real time setter of all of this stuff. And then there's so many variations that it can happen. But it's just no matter what, it's as we've said, they got to stick the landing with something big to have us go into the next phase of whatever with a purpose. Because all of this stuff that we've been watching with Loki and again with Disney shows altogether is giving us now a purpose to watch. I'm watching this because my expectations is with the next movie, I'm going to get something to lead me into another end game type of or Infinity War, whatever the case may be. Movie. That's the purpose of all of this. It's not meant to just give you a whole bunch of wham bam. No, it's to build the anticipation for whatever's going to hit the theaters, and we're going to love it. We're going to be back in the movie theaters, all excited and stuff.
Well, here's something to get Haas excited. We never found out who created Miss Minutes. We don't know that.
Whoa, pause. Before you get into that, I thought it was established that He Who Remains set her program up and then allowed her then did something in her programming where she could program her damn self. So
did he?
Where did it happen where we don't know who created her? Because I'm pretty sure that he said
that, but the thing is, what allowed her to be AI? What allowed her to evolve?
I don't know. King acquires a lot of knowledge.
It wasn't. I thought that was Kang. I was gonna say
Like, what are
Kang
we
did
talking about
something with like it was in the. It was something that Kang did that gave her basically full control of like what she essentially wanted to do. I don't know. That question kind of
He
just
did
threw
that.
me
It's
off
all
a little
him. It's
bit.
Kang.
No, but this is
I
the
was
other
gonna say
thing.
that's
Miss
Kang.
Minutes'
He who
last
remains.
words was that you'll never be him.
Yeah, you'll never
fucking
be he who remains.
how fucking
It's a variant,
sinister?
but it's not.
That
You'll never
person.
be him.
How sinister was he who remains if you'll never be him? Like
He was. He
when
was
we met
sinister.
him,
He
he's
was
like the most
chill.
coy person in the world. He's just super smart.
He was chill by the time we got to see Loki and Sylvie go check him out at the
That part.
yeah. He was chill then, but he had already did his conquering and whatever he did to get up to his point. He done already did all that shit. He was tired.
Did all his dirt.
He's tired. He basically was basically like eternal. So he just got tired. There's nothing more. Kang the Conqueror. He had nothing more to conquer anymore. He got
So do you think Miss Minutes, if she sees another version of Kang, whether it be a Mortis, Ramatut, anybody like that, you think she would work for them if it was in order to take the place of Loki?
She might try to. I mean, if you think about it, if she catches wind of the Council of Kangs and they pop up and she could pick and choose which Kang she wants to be with, like she could probably convince somebody like, hey, get me a body and I can like you never know.
Because she had that thing for him.
Yeah.
Then she probably look at that Council of Kangs and think
She could probably pick and choose which one was the closest.
Might be a GB situation.
The laugh in the back. Yo, I'm telling you,
be a sick ass GB situation.
She can pick and choose like at the buffet. Like, this is what I want. This is the one, right? Trying to tell you. She's all about that. Why didn't you give me a body? I could have been your girl.
It's a real vision situation.
And then she's like, murdering motherfuckers like happy about it. She had
to be honest, like if she wanted to get
into
she had the OJ if she wanted to get into a situation like that to where she could be both a murderer and a sex bot, then she'd probably be
a murderous sex bot. Season 3, a murderous sex bot. That's what the whole
take over this body first.
Season 3 is fire, son.
To be honest, the way that we're going to go into like Deadpool 3, we already realized that Echo's going to be a fucking a TVMA and Blade's going to be rated R. I'm all for it.
Yo, I'm telling you, rated X.
The new Skinamax.
Rated X.
No. The new Skinamax.
Rated X. Miss Minutes. Murderous sex bot. Trying to tell you.
Give you a whole bunch of minutes.
That might not be the cliffhanger.
It's just going to be a whole season. It's going to be a whole season of Miss Minutes gang banging the Council of Kangs. I'm trying to tell you, it's going to be crazy.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow. It's going to be crazy. Your mind is blown now.
You blew your own mind. But look, inevitably, I mean, I see this season of Loki as a win for Marvel. They needed one for a while, especially with going into phase 5, I guess. So this is like the end of phase 4, and this is cool. I'm with it. 100%.
And we got a movie on Thursday.
Yeah. You got the Marvels coming out this week, and there supposedly is this gigantic reveal that nobody knows, but a lot of insiders. So who knows? This all might be heading in the right direction.
Place your forecast. Who do you think's gonna pop up?
Man, it could be. They've been talking about so many recently. They were talking about the Beast from the X-Men showing up. They were talking about basically Maria Rambeau's version, because even though you saw her die in Multiverse of Madness, and there's supposedly a portion of somebody else's reality supposed to enter and meet Monica and Captain Marvel, all you saw was Maria Rambeau, like that statue fall on her and like her arm drop. But the thing is, like, if you saw her before that, she was fighting blasts. She was crushing through walls. She got thrown through a wall and then she came out the motherfucker. So it's like, did she just get knocked out? So it could be Monica just meeting her mom again for the second time. But they're
I don't know.
talking
It's
about a
kind of
whole bunch
wild.
of other shit.
But we seen the like it resembles the Bifrost though. So
It does resemble the Bifrost.
that's
It
confusing.
could be Loki. It could be this show, and then this directly after it.
Dude. So I'm confused now because I was gonna go Thursday to go see this shit, but now I'm like fuck Thursday to go see this shit. I need to see this shit Friday because I need to watch Loki first.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because it's coming on Thursday.
Yeah.
So imagine if he takes control of the Citadel, and he now is able to construct narratives the way that he wants. And the first people that he relays out to, I mean, did he even meet? I don't even think he met Carol Danvers.
Who?
Loki?
Loki.
No, when
Loki,
when
no.
would he get met her? Nah, absolutely not.
But he knows who Nick Fury is, and Nick's in this movie, and Nick knows all.
Yeah. Apparently, he knows too much.
Yeah, he knows way too much. He's also banging scrolls on his ship, so that's another thing.
Let's not
just
bring
one
this
scroll.
back. We had a dark.
I don't know if they got into
That's
some
another
different
thing.
type of
Look,
sex play. We know it's one scroll. But
keeps going into the X.
But in season 3 of Loki, aka Miss Minutes, Murderous Sex Bot, you'll have Nicholas Fury and multiple scrolls involved in sex escapades with Miss Minutes.
Oh,
trying to tell you,
this is right.
fire.
This is right up your alley. Right up your alley. But
there you go.
Once again, I see this as a win.
Yeah.
Regardless of how this plays out, and I think it's going to stick to landing. It has to. It absolutely has to.
Mm-hmm.
But we, aside from just Loki, we experienced a Utopia event this week, because not only was this happening, it sucks because Loki's been so good that people just didn't realize the other shows that were out there. So there was another superhero show that was doing their finale almost at the same time, and it was the Gen V Boys spinoff doing their final show. Already got basically renewed for season 2.
Yeah.
So I will call this season Boys 3.5. And the reason being is because this show detailed to me, because I don't have a one-track mind. I actually did watch the show, that Vought is way fucking scarier than what I thought. So not only are they able to control soups, but they have a college that they dictate strictly for soups, for special human beings, that they allow to go to this college so that they can be studied and monitored consistently. And they have doctors in there that don't want to do this shit, to the point where the finale of this show, the doctor at the end tries to construct a virus that is only available to take out soups, and she's experimenting the shit on kids at the college. So the last thing she tried to basically put out there, because I'm pretty sure they got this knowledge from the pandemic, was the fact that it was like, okay, if I can just contract a virus that kills soups, how can I make this shit contagious? That's basically what she did.
Okay.
So she was like, can I make it airborne? And the thing is, this whole show, you never met anybody from the Boys. Well, except the red hair girl, the one that's been pulling her hair out since the first season of the Boys.
Okay.
She's the spokesman and public relations for Vought. And she's responsible for because the college is almost like a social media experiment too. All these soups are doing social media every fucking 5 minutes, trying to get their views up and whatnot like that. But all the while, all their social media is being monitored. And then they're trying to figure out which one of these new young people will one day be a part of the 7. So when the turmoil and the shit hits the fan and everything's uncovered, and there's a bunch of kids in a psych one of those psych wards that all pop out. So there's a bunch of soups out there like that. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, who's the person that needs to control shit? Here comes Homelander,
bruh.
And the thing is, he only has 2 sentences in this entire show. So it's like everybody's already talked about him murdering a human being in public.
Oh, yeah.
They've been talking about this
Mhm.
entire season.
Yeah.
And like he lands and he's telling the Supes because they're all fighting each other. He was like, "What type of animal are you to be fighting your own kind?" And then just starts blasting everybody.
Get the
And then that's the end of the season. So, you know, when we come to think about it, not only does Vought track brand new Supes at a young age and put them in special schools,
Mm-hmm.
they have psych wards where they keep the really fucking deranged ones that they can't control.
Makes sense.
And then outside of that, the ones that they feel like are way too powerful, they have a hospital for you to basically tame your ass so that you can be one day part of the seven. Because not only can we not control you, you can't control yourself. So we're going to do something for you to where you can be with us in the long run.
Right.
So like Vought is like the fucking galactic empire. Like them motherfuckers have cloning, they have all
Yeah.
types of shit going on. They do everything
Mhm.
that is forbidden to them by the United States government, and it's all fucking funded. Which is nuts.
Wow.
That's why I like that show. And the thing is, this is the one thing I don't get about the current state of comic book shows and movies.
Okay.
There is something for everybody.
Yes.
Like if you have these female driven shows, that's for them. Cool. If you have these kid type shows that are like pretty much PG or maybe even G, that's for them. The
Yeah.
Boys is for like the raunchiest of the raunchy motherfuckers. They was blowing off private parts in that show.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like, if you want to get extremely raunchy, that is for you.
Yeah.
The Boys, Dynamic Comics, putting that shit out is beyond nuts.
Yeah.
And it all brings us back because Amazon Prime took on a couple of properties in the comic book realm that were suitable for a mature audience. One being The Boys, and the other one that premiered the other day, which was Invincible.
Yep.
And that shit, the season 2 premiere literally dropped like a bomb. If y'all remember from watching season 1, Mark and Omni-Man got into the brawlest of the brawls, and Mark got his ass mollywopped. Like, bruh, like to be on the side of a mountain, missing teeth, broken skull, and your dad did this to you, and you still in that. I just wanted to be like you, like that type of shit. Like that is nuts. And then it ended like that.
Yeah.
But no, they've been following the comic book from line to line. So we, of course, get interested. Now, did y'all see the premiere?
Nah, I
I watched it.
Oh, you
I
watched it?
watched it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Haas, I don't know if you want to cut your ears on this.
No. It's cool.
All right. So
But
when we cut to the first glimpses of season 2, like literally the first intro, we get a Mark that's fighting the Immortal. But we already know that the Immortal already died. Well, fighting Omni-Man, got his head cut off, all this other shit. But he got reconstructed at the end of season 1. So you're figuring that the Immortal's back and he's just fighting Mark. But Mark is way more vicious. This Mark can fight. So he hits him. There's one point where the Immortal hits Mark and basically lets him know, he was like, I've been hit hard, way harder than what you're hitting me right now. Basically talking about his dad, because whatever happened at the end of season 1 in his universe happened to him in this universe too. The only difference is Mark teams up with his dad in this reality, and they start taking over shit. Like Omni-Man comes out of nowhere and just starts beating up the Immortal, and they fucking chop his head off, and then they squish the shit, and that's the end of the Immortal. But the thing is,
literally,
it's
30 seconds.
Yeah, it's like that whole perfect society that Omni-Man was preaching to Mark in the first season and everything like that. That has to come to reality because now they're starting to just destroy Earth. And if you're not going to be someone that's going to follow our moral standards or be slaves to us, remember shit, he called Mark's mom a pet. He was like, I just hit this. I had a child with this. This is my thing right here. I did this to create you. And we gonna run the world together. But Mark is probably like the only one out of his reality that has somewhat of a conscience. So That's kind of like the big thing that's around. Now, this is interesting because the first villain that you see in this show is a villain by the name of Angstrom Levy, which, if you want to be specific, is probably a similar version of Kang
Hmm.
than you see in Marvel. So in Marvel, in the comics, it was actually very confusing to understand who Kang was until like all these stories started to link
Yeah.
up because of the Iron Lad thing, the Immortus thing, and the Kang thing. Angstrom Levy made a machine to where he rounded up a bunch of versions of himself from other multiple realities and basically put all these helmets on them, constructed this machine to where all their consciousness and all their memories and all of their knowledge will all end up in one man. And he built that machine, and all that conscious went into him. And then Mark is the one who destroys the machine. But Angstrom now has all these people's knowledge. So like he can create multiversal episodes to where he can create dimensions in his mind. And this is the inclusion of a lot of people that we're going to see in these next coming episodes. Now, Invincible episodes are short. They're usually like a half hour, 45, maybe 40 minutes. But I expect this season to be just as good.
Okay.
Yeah, most definitely. Just like again, just as a person that did not watch the comics, but I watched season one, and like I said, I was super hyped to see that season two was out. Yeah, you kind of the luxury that you get about it as well is, with the show, it kind of gets you right into the motions of the wheel of what is happening. You get obviously you get the recap of what happened last season, but as well as too, it just pushes you right into, all right, we're moving along. I want to get you into what's happening next.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty about it, right? You have these shows, on Marvel where it's kind of like a slow burn. The luxury about the Amazon is like, we want to get you to that point,
Oh, it's
and we want you to
nonstop.
stay interested. It's non-stop, where you're just watching this and you're just like, that 40, it was 40, I think it was 48 minutes. The first episode literally went like this because
You
it was
didn't even
just,
realize it.
you didn't realize it. So I would
All right.
encourage, if you have not seen it, watch it. So good.
So Haas, you got to watch Gen V.
All right. Yeah. Gen V.
Gen V.
Now you watched the first season of Invincible though.
Yeah, I did. It's fantastic.
And it was absolutely flames.
Yeah. So I'll be ready. Don't worry.
Got to get the people on board.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I got a couple days till Loki and Marvel, so I should have a little bit of time to get involved.
And I think this is also a beautiful time for me to at least say this as well too, that again, we have shows that are doing great stuff that's being provided to us on multiple platforms. You guys just have to learn how to be patient with everything that comes out, and you have to appreciate what is given to us. I think the one thing I wanted to make sure I said was, there's so many bad press that's just coming out for what?
Oh man,
It's
for
your
clout.
lack of patience is just going to your lack of patience is going to ruin what's a beautiful thing that's happening to us right now. Enjoy the moment, enjoy what you have right now, so that you can appreciate what's going to come in the future. But if you want to mess that up, why don't you take that stuff elsewhere? And
Variety Magazine is going through it right now. They've been doing hit pieces for the past 2 weeks on Marvel. It's been nuts.
Yeah, they got like a vendetta going.
God damn, I'm wondering
which
one of them writers got denied a job at Marvel and was like, you know what, I'm gonna destroy all this shit.
Yeah, for real. 20 years ago, 15 years ago, like we ain't have nothing.
We had none of this.
We had none of it. So we were literally waiting for movies to come out every once in a while. Like, so now that we have all these options, that's the thing. I have more of a problem getting into something because of time. That is it. Because your own personal time. Outside of that, I love how many options that I have to watch. Like, this is crazy. Because look, this is what I'm watching. I'm watching this stuff, and I'm watching sports. I'm not watching anything else. I don't watch anything else. I watch this sports. That's it. That's all I'm watching. So
Word.
I have too many things to do throughout the day. So it's this and sports. So I'm just glad we have options that I can keep my time occupied. So like anything like I miss at the time, there's always a down period where I can catch up. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of this right now.
That's another thing. Like I tell you about Gen V, you can literally go all the way back to episode 1 and catch all the way up.
Yeah, I can catch all the way up just like that.
Yep.
You're not missing a season. That's the power of the internet.
Yeah, not missing nothing, man. So that's the thing. Is but like Ralph said, like motherfuckers are tearing down things for clout, for views, for likes, for all kinds of shit. Like they just want it's all about the outtakes, man. It's the same thing that happens on these sports networks with people making outlandish comments about stuff. Like everybody's just looking to go viral on some crazy shit or have this crazy like. It's not like at the end of the day, like I'm someone that I can find the good in a lot of things. So I don't like to and we know this, right? But I don't like to tear things. I don't like to tear things down unless it's really bad. Right? If it's really bad, like, all right, we gotta.
I mean, look, we've had our choice views on the DC universe.
Yeah. So, there's some really bad shit there,
and we don't want them to fail.
Don't. But
we
there's
don't.
some really bad shit there, right? So we gotta talk. Like, we're gonna break that.
Talk that shit out.
Yeah, we're gonna break that down. But it's not because we want to tear something down, right? It's never been that. Like, I never want to go into something like, oh yeah, I can't wait to tear this down.
Just make it better.
It's art. So at the end of the day, like I'm trying to find something.
Make it better.
Trying to find something good.
That's it.
But we're gonna rip you if it's bad. But if it's bad, not because we want views and shit like that. That shit's whack. It's corny. I don't like it.
So we got about what is it? Today is Monday, so we got about like 3 days to prepare. We
watch Loki first.
We will be talking about season episode 6 of this season's Loki coming up next week.
Go Birds.
So,
go Birds. Go Birds. Sorry, James. I know your team sucks. It's fine, but go Birds.
My team completely sucks. I don't want to hear any of this.
Yeah, I know. I know. But yo, everybody out here has to know. Don't go see the Marvels without seeing Loki first.
I think you should. Yeah, I think you should.
I think you have to watch Loki just in case. Like you can wait a day. Like if you could watch Loki Thursday night, you can go the next day and go see the Marvels. Right. Like it's really simple.
And the thing Loki is, first. Captain Marvel made $1 billion. I'm pretty sure everybody saw Captain Marvel.
They're coming back.
You know what I'm saying?
They're coming back.
So
the biggest daughters.
So that's your bet.
People are bringing their daughters.
That's your bet.
Yep.
Like they're bringing the kids. Like that's just going to make $1 billion.
Do it. Like, look,
there's 3 Marvels in it.
Next week, we got episode 6. We got the season finale of Loki, and we will be talking more Invincible. So for all of us here at the Party Nerds podcast, Jorge, Haas, Ralphie, my name's Fax. Party Nerds, we are out.